How's it going, everyone? My name is Marcelo Ramirez. I am the curator with International Museum of Art and Science, and I have the incredible pleasure and privilege today of being here with artist and citizen scientist Gabriel Rodriguez, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his exhibition that's going to be up later this year called Insecta, Small Wonders of the World. So how are you doing today, Gabriel?
Pretty good. How you doing, Marcelo?
Excellent, excellent. So let's get right into it. When did your interest in insects begin?
Okay. I would say as a young teenage boy, yeah, that's when it really started. Thanks to my dad, and like I told you before, right? He would always check out the books from the library, local library from Westaco. And I still remember that this day, man, vividly, where seeing that one book there on the coffee table. It was of a praying mantis. And I think from there, my curiosity just kind of took off, you know, from going to wanting to see every bug, plant, or whatever it was, you know. So that's, I would say that's where it originated.
Interesting, awesome, yeah. Utilizing your local library as a resource.
Yes,
that's a good
definitely.
thing. Yeah. So in this exhibition, I know something that we've talked about as we've been planning this exhibition is this idea of perception and how people perceive insects. And so why do you think it's important to change people's perception when it comes to insects?
That's a good question. I think our perception of insects has been, I say, was shifted more towards, you know, hating them, right? I would say, because if you talk to most people, they're like, oh man, I hate bugs. First thing I do is I want to squish them or kill them or spray whatever on them, right? And but if you think about it, they've been here for millions of years, right? Let's say 480, 490 millions of years. So they've been here before us. And I would say allow them to be part of you know, let's allow them to be part of life. I mean, they've been here, then they will be here. That's the way I look at it, right? So instead of trying to fight them, why not live among them? You know, I mean, because this world belongs to both of us, or actually all of us, right? You know.
Interesting. That's a great point there. Yeah. So for someone who, you know, has no background in entomology or has that negative perception of, you know, they see a bug and they want to squish it, what's something that you would tell them to help enlighten them to maybe thinking differently when they encounter an insect?
Well, I'm not an entomologist myself, right? So, but being that I tend to be out with nature, you know, and when you start seeing these creatures out and about or what, then you start seeing that, hey man, like, they're out there doing their own thing too. They don't want to hurt us. And I get it. I'm sure most of this is primitive, right? Like, it was survival, right? But for the most part, these insects don't want to hurt you. I don't see it like that. I mean, I've been around spiders, I've been around wasps, you know, and I can vouch for this. I mean, I haven't been stung yet, or, you know, well, yet. But yeah, I mean, so what you do is you introduce them by, like for me, I show them my images. We're like, hey, look, you know, and then they start asking questions, and they start wondering, right? And then next thing you know, they start saying, hey, Gabriel, I saw this, or I saw that, and I left it alone. I'm like, oh, cool. So my photography in some way has helped, you know, with me spreading that message, you know. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. So of all these insects that you've handled, you know, wasps, caterpillars, everything, do you have a favorite insect?
Yes, the wasp.
The wasp.
Yeah. Why? Because it looks cool. I mean, the eyes, you know, the compound eyes, then, you know, the mandibles, just kind of remind me of I'm a very imaginative person, so I used to like to draw, and I can see them being more of a comic character. So I can, that's where I, you know, that's where I attach it to. So and plus, you know, the fact that them being parasitoids, you know, which is pretty cool when they do that too, you know, and we talked about that.
So yeah, can you explain that term, parasitoid, a little bit more for our
so basically what they do is these are solitary wasps, right? What they do is they go out there and they hunt for a certain species. Like for example, you have one I particularly like. It's called a Evania appendigaster. Mm-hmm. It's a small black wasp, right? It looks like, if you look at it from, you think it's probably a mosquito, right? But what he's doing, he's hunting for Utica, which is a shell casing of cockroaches, okay. And that's where they have their offspring. Go in there and inject, right? And that's where the offspring will feed off of their offspring.
So their offspring feeds off of cockroach offspring.
So, and he also like parasitism, parasitoidism, also like we were talking about it earlier, the tarantula hawk, that'll go after a tarantula and parasitize it and take it to its den and inject its offspring in it, and it'll have fresh food until the offspring eventually come out. So that's what they do. So pretty much it'll turn them into zombies, take them into their little home and say, hey, and give that food to their offspring, you know. Yeah, so.
I like that. I like that the wasps are also controlling cockroaches, which people don't really look upon favorably. So you know, they help. So, could you explain a little bit about your photography and macrophotography, and for those who are unfamiliar with that technique, what that means?
Yeah, macro basically is you're shooting an image and then blowing it up, right? So in my field or my genre, extreme macro, you're going beyond the 1-to-1 ratio. So now what I use, it's either, I use microscope lenses, right? So anywhere from 5 times magnification all the way to 50 times. So we're zooming in deep, right? And with that, we get to see all these intricate details. You know, the compound eyes, you know, the antenna, the structure of the antenna, the structure of their exoskeleton, and just about everything. And so in macro, that's what I do. You know, so it's not your typical, you know, you go and shoot, right? It's studio based. So I set up a camera. It's got lighting. It's very tedious. Yeah, very tedious.
Is there, and when you do these photographs, is there a particular body part that you like photographing more than the rest?
Yes, the compound eyes.
The compound eye.
Yeah, I think maybe it could be a human thing, right? Where when we talk to someone, we try to connect right with the eyes, and the same, I guess, for me with the insect. It's the eye. It's so, wow, it's just amazing, man. Like you look at the facets, right? The compound eyes, like, and the way they're structured, the colors. I mean, yeah, it's mind blowing.
Very nice. So, how do your photographs, you know, how do they serve as valuable tools for scientists?
That's another good question. I've had, I used to contribute, and I've slowed down a lot. I used to contribute to IMAS, which is an app, right? Citizen scientists can, you know, just submit all your records of nature, right? From grass to all the way to birds, you name it. So I've been lucky enough where I've had a few of my photos that I've submitted where they've been used for for academia. And I've actually had, and I didn't tell you this, one of my images was used to illustrate a certain wasp from here, and it's published in the book. So,
very nice.
So yeah, you can contribute in that way without even, you know, being part of academia. So yeah.
So I guess that draws me back to this point, and that's something that you mentioned, citizen scientist. What is that phrase? What is citizen scientist?
For me is, what that means is that you don't have to be a scientist, right? But you can still somehow contribute, right? For those of us that are still passionate, right, and we're not part of that field, you know, we have life going, right? You know, you can be a mechanic, you can be whatever you are, a teacher, or who knows, right? But you can still be part of science, and to me, that's what citizen scientists are. You can still contribute, right? And I think they're essential because most scientists, I think they don't have enough resources. Some places don't have enough resources to say, go out there and photograph everything, right? So that's where we come in. Yeah.
Very nice. So A lot of the questions that we often get here at the museum is kind of that relationship between art and science. And I guess right off the bat, if you tell someone you're doing photography, they don't think you're doing science. So, but you most definitely are and are contributing to the scientific community. So what's your view of that relationship between art and science?
I think it's important. Why? Because without the photography, right, you don't get to show this other part of, for example, the insects, right, in our case. And so that's where they both, mend together, and then that's how it works. I mean, and the same goes with any other things, right, where, binoculars and then you record it, right? So, and yeah, that's where I think the art and science come together, You get to, or even drawing, painting or what. I mean, you don't necessarily have to photograph, right?
It's the act of observation.
Exactly.
Really that unit.
And then at the same time, being aware of what the other part, right? The science, right? Like, you don't have to be a complete scientist. You can be, the way I look at it is if you're passionate enough and, surface level or whatever you want to call it, right? I mean, I'd say that's still beneficial in some way, right?
Very nice, of course. And so I want to read a quote for you, and I think this quote has really been guiding us as we create this exhibition and get everything together. So it's, "The world is rich in small wonders, but so poor in the eyes that see them." This was by Glenn Wiggins, the Canadian entomologist. So very important Canadian entomologist. What does that quote mean to you?
Very powerful quote. I take that to heart. Why? Because for the most part, I think humans, right, we're mainly this, right, eye level, everything, right? We're driving eye level, we're walking eye level. We tend not to pay attention to what's around us a lot of times, right? Especially now, right? It seems like people are just, we're caught up in our own little world sometimes, and that's fine, I get it. But we tend to forget that there's other creatures among us that, that are part of this world too. And let's not forget about them, let's give them a chance. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean that they don't exist, and doesn't mean that they don't have a place here, right? Instead of, just because you see spider webs or what, a lot of times these creatures are doing their own thing, and they've been doing it for years. Trust me, they don't want to hurt you. Give them a chance, That's the only thing I can say about that. Yeah, give them their space. You don't have to like them, but you can respect them.
Excellent. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Gabriel, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here with us today and talk a little bit about your exhibition. You can catch Gabriel's exhibition, Insecta, Small Wonders of the World, here at the International Museum of Art and Science, and it'll be on display from August 9th of this year until January 4th of next year. Thank you very much. Have a good one.